Hey, it's Open Says Real Thoughts. This is where we talk about badass cinema all day, every day. So let's get to it. So recently I went to go watch the Power Rangers, and I honestly didn't think 90s nostalgia would get the best of me. But after I watched that trailer, I know a lot of people were like, I'm not gonna watch that. But after I watched that trailer, I was like, this actually looks kind of good. I don't know what it was about the trailer, but I was like, this could be like kind of good, really good. I don't know, maybe it was really good editing, but I watched it, and yeah, even if you're not a fan of the Power Rangers, this film is very accessible, digestible, and just a really good time. This film is directed by Dean Israelite, who did Project Almanac, which I have not watched yet, but I heard pretty good things. And yeah, as a fan, someone who grew up in the 90s and watched Power Rangers all the time, I just wasn't sure if it was gonna work for this era. It's so different, and I wasn't sure if the corny factor would work out, but nevertheless, it was awesome. So the premise is a group of high school students who are infused with unique superpowers harness their abilities in order to save the world. Basic premise. Group of people trying to save the world. So we have a new class of Power Rangers. We have Dacre Montgomery, who's from Stranger Things, playing Jason, the Red Ranger. Naomi Scott Kimberly playing the Pink Ranger. RJ Cyler is playing Billy, Blue Ranger. RJ Cyler was actually in Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl, I think. That came out like 2 years ago. Ludi Lin, Zach, Black Ranger. I have a very funny story about Ludi Lin after. And then we have Becky G playing Trini, Yellow Ranger. What I really loved about this film was its characters. All these different Power Rangers are so different in their backgrounds, their stories, and who they are as teens and in their struggles. And I really felt that. The director, you can tell that he has a knack for directing because of the beautiful cinematography and some scenes that are like unforgettable, but also in the way he translates these average teen stories in such a palpable and emotional way. I really felt it, and there were moments where I was like, holy shit, am I crying? But yeah, different story. But that's what the director was so good at, was really bringing us into these teens' worlds, and beyond them being Power Rangers, just seeing them as teens who have different struggles, and a lot of them are going through either emotional struggle. I know Trini was getting a lot of buzz because she's possibly the first openly gay superhero or something, and I was like, that's pretty cool. And I just, like, there's just so many different things about their individual stories, because we have people like Zach, who is kind of an outcast, doesn't go to school, kind of a bad boy, and, you know, is taking care of his mother in their trailer. And then we have Billy, who is this mad scientist type of character who's getting bullied at school, and then all of a sudden he has these superpowers. And Naomi Scott, who plays Kimberly, her story's very different. I don't know if I would have, as a writer, I don't know if I would have played her story like that, but it was very interesting because you got a different perspective, and all these characters are coming from such different places that you can relate to them no matter what, and really reminds you what it feels like to be a teen at that time. And then on top of that, they're becoming Power Rangers. So I think this film clocks in at 2 hours, like maybe 2 hours and 5 minutes or something. So it's a very long film. And I know that they're gonna possibly make like 5 more Power Rangers films. So they really wanted this film to be the foundation, this like cement their existence, their character, and they did that really, really well. The only beef I had is because they focus so much, 75% of them becoming and unlocking their potential to become the Power Rangers, that by the time we got to the action part, and by the time they fully embraced being in their Power Ranger suits, the film loses its steam and momentum. And so by the time basically we get to the climax, we're like, I don't know if I care as much. It took a very long time to get there, and by the end you're like, why am I still here? So I wish they would have shortened it a little bit, made a little bit more montages of the training sequence or something, and quicken the process a little bit up so they can get to the fighting scenes. Nevertheless, I just thought the CGI was great. I love the outfits. Of course, what I really liked is they focused so much on the realism for the 75% of the film that they later have. You're kind of thrown into the very corny type where they embrace all the animatronic type of like what when they morph, you guys. It's morphin time. When they morph, it gets a little corny, but I think it still kind of works, you know? Yeah. So, Rita Repulsa, played by Elizabeth Banks, you know? I wasn't sure because I saw her as that character when it was announced, but I think I was so in love with Michiko Soga back in the 90s, and I know the beef was that they wanted Rita Repulsa to be Asian because Michiko is Asian, obviously, and that would have been amazing. I don't know if she was supposed to be Asian, just in general, but it would have been great only because if they got her or someone like her, oh my gosh, she petrified me as a child. Like, she looked like a super villain with those crazy, you know, like, cone boob things on her head, and her laugh is just like, holy shit, this lady, we can't mess with her. But Elizabeth Banks really did its justice. There were parts where I was kind of like, no, can't work like this. So kudos to Elizabeth Banks, she did a great job, but obviously sad at the end that she just loses her steam as well. Like, her being scary wasn't that scary anymore, and that was kind of bittersweet for me, as well as the pacing and everything else. Bryan Cranston, Bill Hader is in this. Bill Hader serves as the voice of this little robot sidekick of the Power Rangers, and overall great action, great emotional like resonance, and I really just enjoyed it for what it was. I honestly thought that because the first half was so amazing and so like enthralling, that it could have been one of the great superhero films. But sadly, you know, we get the end, which is still great, but it's just a little off and limp, you know. But they were trying to build up so much, and I think they did that great in terms of foundation, really building these characters. So by the time they get to like the 5th film, we already know, and they can jump into the action right then and there for the next one. So yeah, I almost forgot to tell you guys the exciting story with Ludi Lin. So when I watched the trailer, I was like, this guy looks super familiar. Like, I've probably seen him somewhere. And then I realized I saw him at my friend's birthday party like 2 years ago, and he looked super good looking. Like, oh my god, who are you? And my friend's an actor as well, so I knew that maybe it was like possibly like they're all actors. If you see anybody like really good looking in LA, they're probably an actor or something. And I was like, oh my god, who are you? And I was like, oh, you must be from like China, a Chinese actor that's like really buff and cut. And I think we talked very briefly, and all I remember was he was strangely engaged in our conversation despite not knowing me, and I just thought that was kind of nice, but also it felt like he was like talking through me. Who knows? That was a bizarre night, but nonetheless, it was great to meet him, and I'm really glad that he's in this film, because honestly, Asian men get such a bad rep in the media as like scrawny, emasculated, or whatever, but this guy was like super buff, super badass, and he was like rocking it. I was like, oh my god, who are you? So that was fun. Anyways, let me know what you guys thought of the film. If you thought it was too corny, whatever. Check out my reviews at www.soisrealthoughts.com for everything else, all the good stuff. And yeah. Anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys on the flip side. Bye.